Oh, so y'all wanted to get deep in this Monday motivation video, huh?
I'm the librarian, and I came to read.
I first wanted to say thank you guys. A few more of you have signed up on Patreon to help support this channel. Y'all already know what's on there, but I also added for everyone that I will be watching Game of Thrones live on Patreon only. So if you want to see that, you want to see my live reactions, I'll be doing that shit on Patreon only for everyone who's a patron. So get on there if that's something that you're interested in. Thank you again for those of you who have signed up. You're really helping support my ass while I make all this content every goddamn week. It really helps me out. Now, before we get into this, I'm putting a disclaimer on this. As you can see from the title of this, the point of this video is to talk about the stigma in the black community. I'm not bashing the black community because I know there are a lot of other content creators that come out trying to bash the black community. Oh, we need to be more like the white people. No, they got their problems too, okay? So that's not the purpose of this video to say, oh, well, girl, we need to be more like X, Y, and Z. No, I'm addressing, every community got their own problems, but I'm addressing specifically the stigma in the black community because I have experience with that. And second of all, I want to say that me talking about my experience might be a little different than you guys because as you all know, I have, Caribbean heritage. My parents and grandparents far back are Jamaican. That perspective might change things, so just keep that in mind when I talk about this. We've all heard it before. Oh, well, girl, just pray it away. That's one thing I've heard. I've also heard in the black community that, some people don't even think these things exist. Some of these people really don't think that mental illness is a thing. They quickly demonize it. Literally, sometimes they say it's demon possession, girl. So, and as black people, we already know the statistics. If you don't, I'm about to read them to you. As black people, we don't have no time to be playing no games. We don't have time to be playing no games when it comes to mental illness. Let me go and bring it up, and this is coming from, 2014 statistics from the United States Census and shit. So this is some real tea, honey. Get into this shit. But we already know that 13.2% of the US population back in 2014 identifies as black or African American. Moving right the fuck along. Of those, over 16% had a diagnosable mental illness in the past year. Now we got to take that statistic also with a grain of salt because that 16% represents the amount of black people probably who had the ability to get access to health care and shit like that, who had the ability to be diagnosed. So there's no telling. There's no telling what the hell is going on in the rest of the community. You see what I'm saying? Moving right along. So 16%. And what they want to do now is put that in numbers for you. So that's over 6.8 million black people that have had diagnosable mental illnesses in the past motherfucking year. So they said that is more than the population of Chicago, Houston, and Philadelphia combined. So when we have this stigma, like we're so scared to talk about it, and this is just the black community. I'm not even talking about the black gay community because as much trauma as we go through as black people and then also as gay people, there's no telling how many problems are going on in our community when it comes to mental illness. But that's a whole nother goddamn video. But black community as a whole, for us to have this stigma, because we do sometimes like, girl, we don't think the shit is existing. We don't think the shit is real. Oh, she's just faking. All she needs is a good beating. But we be playing around and there's 6.8, what the hell say? 6.8 million of us who were diagnosed, girl. We don't have the time to be acting like the shit is just, oh, yeah, it's not a big deal. Just pray it away. Now, let me tell you something. Y'all already know I'm not a religious person. I sometimes be dragging Christianity because that's what I was brought up in, like, blindly. But for y'all to be kneeling down generation after generation, still nothing motherfucking works. Y'all need to fight. You know what the definition of insanity is? The definition of insanity is doing one thing a certain way and expecting different goddamn results. Y'all have been kneeling down for generations and still have generational problems. We've got to get our ass, like Maxine Waters, we got to stop his ass. We got to get our asses up and start thinking, using the thinking cap. Do I need to whip out the thinking cap again? Y'all lucky I can. Oh, there it go, bitch. There it go. We need to whip out our thinking caps and be like, okay, girl, this shit is not working. Okay, we need to find another method. We need to make sure that since a lot of black people like church, that's for y'all, not for my gay ass, but a lot of black people like church, we need to make sure that, okay, if we're gonna have all these black people in one area, let's get some mental health professionals out here. First of all, we've got to make it easier for us to talk about our mental health problems. That's the first thing, because if you can't talk about it, if there's such a stigma against this shit that we can't even express our experiences when it comes to us being depressed or anxious, or, there are people with bipolar disorder, if we can't even make it easier for us to have a conversation, we can't even get to solving the fucking problems. So yes, if y'all like church, we need to have these resources at church. We need to make sure that we have these resources at school and stuff. And I know it's easier said than done because, you know, black people, minorities, we have lack of access to a lot of resources and shit like that. But even going so far as to just hold talks or hold panels to just discuss the shit that we have been ignoring for years. I remember walking into college and thinking, oh girl, this shit is so goddamn stressful. How the fuck is everybody doing this shit? And my experience in a black, you know, Jamaican ass household, it's just like, girl, you get your work done, honey. You can cry, you can be crying, you can be mad, you can be upset, you can be depressed, you can be anxious. That's cute for you, but what you're gonna need to do is get your work done. And I'm still guilty of that, not giving myself enough time to heal and not giving myself enough time to breathe. But I'll do one thing consistently, and that's work. I'll be working on something, I'll be working on a project. So in ways that's cute, but it's also, it can be detrimental and unhealthy. So when I got to college and it's like, bitch, all this stress had been building up on me. It's like, girl, what's the tea? Coming from that household into, you know, a new environment, I didn't know what the hell was going on until I seen some of these white people out here just popping pills and shit. I said, oh girl, I thought I was the only one dealing with stress and anxiety. Girl, is that how they deal with it? Is it they use medication to deal with this shit? You know, a lot of times, sometimes that shit is not prescribed, if we're gonna be honest. But I'm just saying that it goes to show how different cultures deal with things differently. And I feel like you popping pills that are not prescribed is also a path, it's also going down a path that is not good. But I'm using that as an example to say we have to go ahead and realize that chemical imbalances in the brain, that shit is real and it affects everyone, girl. So we need to figure out a way to have discussion. You know, and the girls are saying historical adversity, which includes slavery, sharecropping, race-based exclusion from health, education, social, and economic resources, that translates into socioeconomic disparities experienced by African Americans. So socioeconomic status in turn is linked to mental health. People who are impoverished, minorities, homeless, minorities, incarcerated, fucking black men, minorities, or have substance abuse problems are at higher risk for poor mental health. So if we know that the black community is more prone to being in poverty, we know that they're, because of the system, because of these oppressive ass systems in place, we know that they're more prone to be locked up. And this research has proved that, girl, the more that your ass is locked up, impoverished, don't have access to health care, economic resources, all that shit, the more that you don't have this shit, the more likely your ass is going to be suffering from mental illness. So we need to go ahead and just stop. We can cut the act, bitch. Let's just go ahead and just call a spade, girl. We are experiencing some hard ass trauma every day we wake up, girl. So let's not pretend like, oh, mental health is not something that we've got to talk about it at least. At least we have to start by talking about it so that we can then move on to, okay, now girl, we talked about it, we got this shit in our system, we made sure that, you know, the stigma is lowered. Now what are we gonna do about it? You know, growing up black and in a Caribbean ass household, girl, it's just so many things I heard about. Well, why are you sad? Why are you upset? You got a roof over your head, you got food. And it's just like, girl, what are you talking about? Someone having food, having a lot of money or whatever, someone having a bed to sleep in, it doesn't prevent them from being depressed. What are you talking about? Literally, if there has been a gash placed in your arm, if your arm has been wounded and you start gushing blood and shit, no one is gonna come up to you and say, oh, well, girl, I don't know why you're bleeding. You have a bed to sleep in, you have food over your, you have food on your table, you have a roof over your head. No, bitch, they're gonna come over there, either take you to the hospital or stitch your ass up or give you a band-aid or some shit like that. That's the same way that we have to view mental health. We have to view it like it's physical health. Just because your ass is in a comfortable ass house or you have a lot of money in the bank does not mean that the chemicals in your brain still can't fuck you up. There are people living with mental illnesses, and yes, they may have all the money in the world or whatever, but it still does not stop that mental illness from affecting their life. So they have to make sure that they either do what they have to do, see a therapist or, get prescribed if they have to. But yeah, I think in order to work towards solving this stigma problem in the black community, I think that we have to first start by at least talking about it, having conversations about it. And secondly, we have to start also by correcting and checking our family members, especially the older ones, who may themselves be suffering from mental illness and are out here denying that the shit exists. We don't need that type of conversation, not with the statistics that I just read. We don't need for people to be running around here denying that shit like climate change. Like, girl, if you don't sit your ass down, we need growth. And that's all I got for y'all. Sign up for Patreon for more fucking content. Look out for when I reach 50,000 subscribers. I got a cute little project for y'all. Stay motivated and have a good goddamn evening, honey.